Nothing quite like a nice cool trip around the lake in the boat on a nice hot summer day, just hopefully things don't heat up too much. Welcome back guys to this week's episode of Boating News of the Week. Our first incident to make the boating news this week is going to take us up to the Cumberland River near Lake Barkley, where this past week the American Jazz, a small cruise ship owned by American Cruise Lines, was on its way from Memphis to Nashville when all of a sudden it drifted outside of the channel and wound up running aground near the community of Canton, Kentucky. At the time of the incident, nearly 120 passengers and 54 crew members were on board the vessel. No injuries were reported at the time. The crew on board the vessel spent the first 12 hours trying to dislodge the vessel by itself before alerting authorities they had become stuck. After the Coast Guard and local authorities were alerted, all 120 passengers were removed 10 at a time by local pontoon vessels and put up in a hotel in Nashville. Currently, the vessel is still stuck on the Sandbar as owners of the vessel and local authorities work on a plan to get it removed. Currently, it poses no environmental threat. Our next incident to make the boating news this week is going to take us over to Destin, Florida, where 4 boaters got extremely lucky this past week as their vessel began to capsize near the Destin Bridge. And fortunately for this crew, a Coast Guard vessel actually passed right by them as it was returning from a previous case. Fortunately, the 45-foot response boat was able to call the incident in, but also go ahead and dive straight into action and rescue the 4 people off the vessel that was in distress. A 24-foot rescue vessel as well as a 22-foot jet drive boat from the Oskaloosa County Sheriff's Office were also dispatched to the scene. No injuries were reported, and the cause of the incident at this time is still under investigation, but this crew really did get lucky. It's not very often that you have an emergency situation go on like this, and crews literally don't even have to respond as they pass right by you just out of coincidence. Our next incident to make the boating news this week is going to keep us in Florida, as this was the scene approximately 30 miles off the Florida coast as the Coast Guard rescues 4 boaters after being stranded in the water for nearly 12 hours. Around 7:30 p.m., the 20-foot vessel that can be seen floating upside down in this video made an urgent distress call to the Coast Guard, alerting them that they were taking on water. Unfortunately, thunderstorms rolled into the area immediately after this call, and the Coast Guard actually lost contact with the vessel. A Jayhawk helicopter rescue crew and 2 other vessels were dispatched to the area to begin the search. Approximately 7:30 in the morning, almost 12 hours after the initial call, the Jayhawk rescue crew actually located the 4 crew members, all hugging the vessel and all wearing life jackets after spending 12 hours overnight in the water. All 4 crew members were plucked from the water and hoisted aboard the helicopter without injury. The only injuries reported were mild hypothermia, which is absolutely incredible after spending 12 hours in the water like this. The Coast Guard attributes the successful rescue to the fact that all 4 mariners had life jackets on board and all 4 were able to stay with the vessel. Our next incident to make the boating news this week is going to take us over to Egypt, where after being impounded for nearly 3 months, the Evergiven finally is free. Yes, we know it was freed from the Suez Canal several months back, but it's actually been held ever since then, with the Suez Canal Authority demanding almost $900 million worth of compensation. $300 million of that being a salvage bonus, and another $300 million is being used for a loss of reputation. Of course, these initial numbers were declined by the insurance company and the owner of the Evergreen. The Suez Canal Authority did come back and offer $550 million later on, and of course they were counteroffered with $150 million. It's undetermined at this time the exact number that was paid to get the ship released, but obviously it is going to be somewhere in between that $150 and $550 million number. Still, no matter what the number is, I'm sure there's a sigh of relief as this saga comes to an end. Our next incident to make the boating news this week is going to take us up to Massachusetts, where 40 people had to be rescued off of a charter boat out of Gloucester Harbor after one of the engines caught on fire on board the vessel. Crews from the U.S. Coast Guard Station Gloucester and the Gloucester Harbor Master's offices responded to the fire on board the Yankee Patriot II. Fortunately, the fire suppression system on board the Yankee Patriot II did its job and put the fire out in the engine room. All 40 passengers on board the vessel were loaded onto the Coast Guard vessels and taken back to shore. The Yankee Patriot II did make it back to shore under its own power from its one working motor still, and no injuries were reported during the incident. Thanks for watching guys, I hope you enjoyed this week's episode of Boating News of the Week. If you ever see anything crazy happening on your waterways, be sure to hit me up on Facebook or Instagram and let me know, and you might see your stories over here. Just like Luke Miller, John Booth, David Eaton, Keith Hurst, and Nyla Johnson did this week. And if you guys haven't already, go ahead and drop an anchor on the subscribe button here. If not, we're coming to steal your drain plug.